Welcome. So my name is Will Moss. I'm the CEO of HBCU Connect. Wanted to thank everyone for coming this evening for our special event with Pfizer's Business Innovation Team and organization. So we have a great event lined up for you. So the first thing I want to do is give you a little bit of background on myself. So again, my name is Will Moss. I'm the CEO of HBCU Connect. We are super excited because we host these events specifically for folks that are part of our community or are new to our community to take advantage of opportunities specifically for diverse candidates. So you are here at the right place at the right time. So we wanted to welcome you. If this is your first time joining us for an event, we do events like this all over the country, in person and virtually. So with what happened with COVID-19, we actually pivoted from doing a lot of the events and in-person locations to doing the events virtually. That also created the opportunity for folks that may not be in a specific city where we're hosting an event to log in remotely for opportunities in specific locations like what we have here with the Pfizer Business Innovation Team this evening. So what is the opportunity for you? The opportunity for you is to learn more about Pfizer, to ask questions, to engage, to introduce yourself for a potential life-changing or career-altering opportunity here with Pfizer's Business Innovation Team. All right, so we've had a relationship with Pfizer for over 5 years now. This is our first series of events. We just had an event yesterday for the Vaccine Research and Development Team, which went awesome. So we're also anticipating an awesome event this evening. So let's make some things happen. We want some folks to get hired as a result of this event. So this is your chance to engage in preparation for a possible interview and a possible job with Pfizer. All right, so let me go over quickly our agenda. So I like to set expectations so that you all know what we're going to cover before we get into the breakout rooms. So we're going to have a presentation from Gautam Gupta, who's the SVP Head of Strategy and Consulting within Pfizer. We're also going to have a presentation from Quinny Wong, Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, about diversity, equity, and inclusion at Pfizer. And then we're going to have the opportunity for you all to engage. So get ready, get your questions ready, get ready to engage. And here's another thing I'm going to ask you to do. Leverage the chat. I don't want you to feel like you are watching a recording. This is a live and interactive event. So please go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. If you like to introduce yourself, your name, whatever HBCU you might represent, where you're from, what your background is. Maybe drop a link to your LinkedIn profile, because we will share the chat log or the chat log from the event with the Pfizer team. So if you drop your LinkedIn profile, they will have access to that. So go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. And as we go, if you have questions, go ahead and ask those questions in the chat as well. And then when you get into the breakout rooms, that's really going to be your chance to engage, ask questions on video and audio or through the chat as well. All right. So we're going to have that opportunity in the breakout sessions. Then we're going to come back from the breakout sessions at the end and close things out and talk about next steps. So you're super excited about landing an interview with the Pfizer Business Innovation Team. We're going to talk about how we're going to make that happen once we come back from the breakout rooms. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready. So now I want to make sure Gautam is with us. Has Gautam had a chance to log into the event?
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome.
I'm here, Will. Hi there.
Awesome. Welcome, Gautam. So let me introduce Gautam Gupta, SVP, Head of Strategy and Consulting within Pfizer. So Gautam, I'll let you take it away and I'll follow your lead on the slides.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Will. Really excited to be here with all of you today. And I can speak on behalf of my colleagues. We're very excited as Pfizer to engage with you, and great to hear that you also met with our vaccine R&D team. So quickly, my name is Gautam Gupta. As Will said, I lead the strategy function at Pfizer. We support various strategic initiatives across the company. And we're one of 5 teams that are part of the Business Innovation organization. And I'll talk a little bit about what business innovation is at a high level and what are the 5 functions that consist and make up that organization. And then I'll do a bit of a double click on my team, which is strategy and consulting, because we're one of the groups within business innovation that is particularly expanding our team right now and is doing quite a bit of recruiting and hiring, which is the context for our conversation today. So Will, if you're able to, feel free to bring up my slides and I can dive right into my first slide there. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So, Pfizer, as you know, is a large global pharmaceutical company. We have research and development, we have manufacturing, we have our commercial organization, so many different functions across the company. Business innovation specifically is the team or that group within the company that is thinking not just about today's execution and what we need to execute in our research pipeline or what we need to execute in the marketplace, but really is setting the mid to long term direction of the company. And so one way we describe it is to say that BI or business innovation is the engine that's really creating that transformative value in the mid to long term for patients and for Pfizer's business. It's led by a gentleman by the name of Amir Malik, who's my boss. He is the Chief Business Innovation Officer for Pfizer, and he reports into our CEO. So it's a very highly visible, high-profile organization that sits, very close to the top of the company. As I mentioned, there are 5 distinct functions and 5 teams that make up this business innovation organization, and those are the 5 boxes that you see here. So I'll quickly touch on these 5 functions because it'll give you a sense of the kind of work that the organization does, and then I'll double click on my team, which is strategy and consulting. So the first group is called CSI, or Commercial Strategy and Innovation. These are the folks and the team that provide various kind of commercial insights and commercial inputs into our research and development efforts. So as you're developing a new medicine, you're going through early research, you're going through clinical development, you need to also think about what the future treatment paradigm for that particular vaccine or drug is going to look like. What are the eligible patient populations? What are the competitor products that are being developed that this vaccine or drug would have to compete with? So all of those commercial insights, inputs, and assumptions need to be fed up into the R&D process. And that's the main function of that first group there called CSI. The second team in business innovation is called Pfizer Center One and Pfizer Ignite. So it's really 2 components in this team. The first one is Pfizer Center One, which is essentially an internal contract development and manufacturing organization. And what I mean by that is they are the team that takes some of the excess manufacturing capacity that we have in our manufacturing network and actually sell that excess capacity to external companies. It could be biotech companies, it could be other pharma companies, but other people who need high quality, reliable manufacturing. We take all of our capability and we sell that excess capacity to outside funds. So that's one part of it. And then Pfizer Ignite is a relatively new group. It's a kind of a very innovative business model we're trying in the pharma industry, which is similar to manufacturing. We have deep capabilities in research and development. And so could we take some of that capability and capacity in R&D, and could we provide those services to other smaller companies who maybe don't have the level of expertise or the scale in R&D, and they could benefit from some of our expertise? So very much like what we did in the pandemic, where we partnered with a small biotech company called BioNTech to develop the mRNA COVID vaccine. We provided them our R&D expertise. Similarly, we're looking to expand that model and see if we can work with 20, 30, 50, or 100 biotech companies across the globe and provide them our R&D services and kind of help them be successful. So that's the organization number 2. The third one we call Portfolio and Decision Analysis, or PDA. In a nutshell, what they do is they help senior leadership make decisions around how best to deploy our R&D investments and our R&D resources. So we, as a company, spend about $11 to $12 billion of R&D every year. Let me say that again, $11 to $12 billion with a B, just in research and development every year. And so when you think about that level of investment, we need to be very disciplined around which diseases are we going to pursue, which programs in our pipeline should get the priority investment, which programs are not looking that attractive and we should probably deprioritize them. So all of those decisions take a lot of analysis. They take a lot of socialization and discussion at the leadership team level. And the PDA team is the one that does all the analysis to support those kind of pipeline decisions for our management team. And then I'm going to go to the last bucket, and then I'll come back to my team, which is the fourth one here. So the fifth team here is called Worldwide Business Development. And kind of like the name suggests, they are the primary group that is responsible for all of our business development transactions with external companies, whether we're divesting a part of our business and selling something to another company, or we're in licensing or acquiring an outside asset or an outside company. It's the BD team that really identifies those target companies, engages in negotiations with them, and then ultimately closes the deal. And Pfizer has been particularly active on the M&A side in the last couple of years. We've been acquiring, lots of interesting, exciting biotech companies, and the BD team on that right-hand box is the one that drives all of that analysis and evaluation and the transactions. And then the fifth team here, which is the team that I lead, it's strategy and consulting. Kind of like the name suggests, we're the internal strategy group for the company. So any major strategic initiatives, any major strategic opportunities, challenges that the company is facing, we help support and lead the thinking and the solution development for those strategic challenges. Very much like a external consulting firm would be like. So if you've heard of companies like McKinsey or Boston Consulting Group or Deloitte Consulting, we're very much that same kind of skill set, same kind of capability, but we live and breathe within the company, and we're the internal strategy function. So that's really a very quick overview of the 5 groups within business innovation. With that, Will, if we advance to the next page, I can go a little bit deeper into my own team. Again, probably won't spend a lot of time here, but at a high level, we support these special strategic initiatives at many different levels in the company. So either at the corporate level, which is anything for our executive leadership team, our board of directors, so any big enterprise questions, or we support strategies at a commercial level. So anything related to our sales and marketing organization, how should we launch our products? How are we going to maximize identifying all the eligible patients for our products? So anything on the commercial side. And then we also support initiatives on R&D, which is related to, again, which therapeutic areas we should be playing in, what is the optimal mix between internally driven research versus externally sourced innovation. So any major strategies across the company is kind of what my team leads and supports. If you go to the next page, yep, a little bit about how we're structured. So like I mentioned, we support corporate initiatives, R&D initiatives, and commercial initiatives. The team is structured in 4 verticals. So we call each of the teams under myself as verticals. So the first vertical is anything at the enterprise and kind of corporate strategy level, as well as any R&D related strategies. And then the other 3 verticals are really commercially oriented. So everything, like I mentioned, around launch of new products or country level strategies about how we're going to engage physicians and patients in certain regions of the world. How are we going to go to market? Should we be going through retail channels or should we be going through wholesale channels, etc. So any kind of commercial, sales and marketing related strategies are handled by those 3 groups. And then within each vertical, we have a bunch of colleagues and team members. We have quite a wide spectrum of experience levels and people who are early in their career, all the way to analysts who are coming straight out of undergrad schools and degrees, all the way to vice presidents who are very seasoned executives with 10 to 15 years of experience in the pharma industry. And then we have many levels in between. We recruit from, like I mentioned, both undergrad schools, but also from business schools and other advanced degrees. And then we do a lot of lateral hiring from industry, either coming from other pharma companies, or they may be coming from external consulting firms, because that's the kind of skill set and the kind of capability that we need, within the team as well. The more senior you are within the team, so typically our vice presidents, senior directors, and directors, they tend to be dedicated to certain verticals or dedicated to certain parts of the business. So they would typically focus on the vertical that they belong to. So one of the 4 boxes on the top. But then as you go earlier in the career, typically people don't want to necessarily just specialize in one part of the pharma business. And so we tend to flex them depending on the needs of the business, depending on their interest. So they could be trying projects across different parts of our business. They could be doing a corporate project for a few months, then they could go do something in R&D, they could do something in commercial. So we have quite a flexible model, and we make sure that people have enough diverse experience and they can get a taste of different kinds of initiatives. The other point I'll quickly make on this page before we go to my last slide is, one, we are growing as a team, so we've been expanding quite a bit. Part of the reason is just the number of opportunities and the challenges that the industry is facing and Pfizer is facing is growing exponentially. A lot of it is due to policy environment, policy changes, a lot of competition. So in general, the demand for kind of strategic support and the kinds of questions that the company is asking means that the number of projects that we're being asked to lead and support is also growing. So we're growing, which is good news. Second reason we're actually recruiting is also because our team is very much seen as a talent incubator and a talent feeder for the rest of Pfizer. So people will often come into the strategy team, spend maybe 2, 3, 4 years with us, and then they look to take the next step in their career, which could be in a corporate function, it could be in our commercial organization, could be in the R&D organization. So we're also seeing always a certain number of people turning over and churning out of our team, and therefore we're always looking to kind of backfill and recruit those open positions. So for both reasons, we continue to have a number of open positions that we recruit for. And then my last slide here, just very quickly, is to give you a flavor of the kind of work we do. As I mentioned, we do everything from sort of very brand and asset specific work all the way to enterprise level work. So a very wide spectrum of kind of strategic initiatives. On the brand level on the left, it could be something like, how are we going to maximize the success of the launch of a new cancer medicine, or how are we going to maximize success of the launch of a new vaccine? That's something we do pretty routinely. We often will do portfolio level work, which is, if you look at one of our business segments, could be vaccines, could be oncology or rare diseases, how are we going to grow that part of our business over the 3 to 5 year time frame? So we call that a business unit or a portfolio level strategy. We often will do country level or regional strategies, which is to say, how are we going to grow and compete effectively in a market like China, which we know is a big healthcare market, big pharmaceutical market, but it's also a very tough market to compete in. So how are we going to succeed in that particular part of the world? Or then we could look at enterprise, which is, if you look at Pfizer's projected performance over the next 5 to 10 years, what are some of the biggest challenges we're going to face over the next decade, and how are we going to make sure we continue growing effectively and we continue competing effectively in the pharma industry? So just to give you a taste, all the way from very, very specific product level strategies, all the way to company and corporate level strategies on the right, we do everything in between in that spectrum. And then my closing point would be here, just based on the kind of work we do, our team does give colleagues within the group very good exposure to very important, high impact, critical business issues. We get a lot of visibility for our team members with senior leadership, because these kinds of questions are the ones that are sponsored by very senior leaders in the company. So you get very good exposure to them. And then third, because of that kind of work that we do and the kind of exposure we have to leadership, we are also, like I said, seen as a talent incubator, and it opens up many, many career opportunities even in the future for people who want to leave strategy, but they want to stay within the company as well. So from all those respects, we feel like we're a great organization to provide an entry into a company like Pfizer. Awesome. I think that's all I had. So I'll pause here and see if you have any questions, but otherwise we can wrap up this section.
No, Gautam, let me be the first to thank you for taking the time out to give us that overview. I think it's always well received when we can get an idea, because Pfizer is a huge company and there are lots of different opportunities in different parts of the company. So it's great at our events if we know exactly which part of the company we're focused on and the opportunities that are available. So thank you for taking the time out. I'll say to the candidates, if you have questions for Gautam, drop them in the chat. So if you do have a couple of minutes to look over any questions in the chat, that would be great. Otherwise, we will share the chat log after the event. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Will.
Awesome. All right, so let me next introduce Quinny Wong, who is the DE&I director there at Pfizer. So Quinny, if you're ready, I'll let you take over.
I am ready. Hello, everyone. I am Quinny Wong, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I am in the DEI team at Pfizer, and DEI, E is equity. Equity is a key value at Pfizer. We believe everyone deserves to be seen, heard, and cared for. And we also believe when we have diverse talent, that's diversity, and when they feel included, when they're empowered, they can truly thrive and contribute. So we know we can only get diverse talent when we work with partners like HBCU Connect today. So we can really find talent from all over. And we know HBCU Connect has some of the best talent like yourselves here. So we're very excited to meet with all of you here. We can go to the next slide. If we want the best talent, we really need to have DEI embedded in our workplace and into our purpose. That's how we can deliver breakthroughs that change patients' lives. So what do I mean by embedding DEI into everything? So let's go to the next slide. So the next slide will show you the 3 pillars of our DEI strategy. It's truly comprehensive. The one on the left, the first pillar, is all about you, about colleague experience. So we want a truly inclusive experience for all our colleagues. The second pillar in the middle is about advancing equitable health outcomes. So you're talking to advisors, and you know we care about patients. So this pillar is really about equity for patients. The third pillar on the right is about society. So from colleagues to patients to the larger society, how can we bring equity to society through different external DEI partnerships? I'm not going to read every single thing on this slide for you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll just talk a little bit more on the first pillar. When we say we want a truly inclusive colleague experience, the first thing is about improving diversity. So that's something I started talking about when I first started speaking. So events like this, about talent acquisition, that's one thing we really care about. How do we find the best talent from different sources? It's also about development. So when colleagues, if you join us, there are also all kinds of development opportunities so we can help our colleagues to grow. It's also about retention, advancement, leadership. So DEI needs to be a part of the entire talent life cycle. But as I said in the beginning as well, it's also about having people feel included so they can thrive. So that's about fostering belonging. We want to make sure everyone feels safe to be who they are, and we celebrate all our colleagues. So that's our culture at Pfizer. I'm not going to talk much about the second and the third pillar. As I said, it's pretty self-explanatory what these pillars are. In the middle, you can see it's about inclusive research. It's about improving health outcomes through preventing, identifying, treating, mitigating disease drivers that disproportionately impact underserved populations. And it's also about removing access to healthcare. And on the right, when we talk about society, first of all, it's about a partner, suppliers. We need diversity there as well. And it's also about how we can create opportunities for our colleagues to volunteer. How do we deploy capital in a more equitable way? So that's how we're going to bring change to society. All right, we can go to the next slide. I've told you our vision, how we're going to do it, the strategy. So what are our goals? We have many DI goals, but these are 2 of the ones that we have publicized. One is about gender parity, and another is about ethnicity. We want more people of color. We want more minorities represented in our workforce in the US, because we can see we can truly do better. So you can see how we are trending in the last few years. And on the far right, those are our published 2025 parity goals. And you can see we're really working towards, we're getting there. Not there yet, still a lot of work to be done, but we're in the right trajectory. So the last slide I have, you would see a bunch of DEI awards. So the purpose of this slide is not to pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, see how good we are. It's not about that. It's about how we want to benchmark ourselves against other companies in the industry, in the world. We want to make sure we are holding ourselves accountable. We are progressing in the right way. And we also want to learn from a lot of these benchmarks, these awards, these next practices to see how we can continue to grow. So that's a short overview of what we're doing in DEI. And I really hope you would get an opportunity to experience that yourself when you join us. That's my DEI presentation. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Quinny. Okay, so next up, we have breakout room. So this is sort of the meat and potatoes of the event. We want to definitely give you the overview of the business innovation team. Also talk a little bit about diversity, equity, and inclusion there at Pfizer. So thanks to Gotham and thanks to Quinny for those awesome presentations. And I'm starting to see some questions come in into the chat. So this is your opportunity to take those questions into the breakout rooms and engage. So what's going to happen in the breakout rooms is we have, as you can see on the screen here, we have 3 breakout rooms. In each breakout room, we have a couple of representatives from the Pfizer team in those breakout rooms. They're going to give you a brief overview about who they are and the opportunities that are represented in that particular breakout room. And then they're going to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and engage and ask questions. So I hope that you've been writing down some questions that you might have. I'm sure a lot of you are curious as to how your background may fit into the business innovation organization. So this is your opportunity to engage and connect and ask those questions. So I think it's pretty simple here. What I have on the screen is the 3 different breakout sessions. But for the strategy and consulting, since we have so many folks that we've reached out to and engaged with to invite to this event, interested in the strategy and consulting opportunities for manager and senior manager opportunities in strategy and consulting, we've split that room up into 2 rooms. And we're going to say we want you to go into the rooms based on the first letter of your last name. So the first strategy and consulting room was A through M, and the second one is N through Z. So if the first letter of your last name starts with A through M, and you're interested in the strategy and consulting, you'll go into that room. If it starts with N through Z and you're also interested in strategy and consulting, you'll jump into that room. But do not forget, we have some awesome opportunities as well in the business development room with Phil and Lucille for portfolio and decision analysis, business assessment and acquisition, advisor central transaction group or contract negotiations. So if you have that experience, because a lot of you, if you look in your email, you see these instructions as well. We reached out to you based on that experience in your resume, and we want you to go into the right room so that you can align with the right folks to talk about the right opportunities. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the breakout sessions. If you're not sure on which room you should go into, you can just hang out here until we get everyone else into the rooms, and then we'll help you get into the right room, or I'll stay here to help you get into the right room. To the Pfizer team, once you jump into the rooms as well, I'm going to open the rooms up now.
I just wanted to thank everyone for joining and asking the questions. We had a great group and super excited for further conversations.
Awesome. There was a couple of breakout sessions where I didn't see as many hands getting raised, but there was one where everybody was using the raise hand feature. So I'm guessing folks just kind of interjected and inserted their questions. So awesome.
I will say for our breakout room, everyone's really respectful and raised their hand. So I think we did we had a really good, not to be biased, I think we had a really good group.
We
did raise hands.
We did the opposite. We did the opposite and said, just ask your questions.
Awesome. So it looks like everybody is back into our main session. So what I wanted to do next, first of all, I wanted to thank everybody for joining us. We're not quite done yet. Wanted to save a couple of minutes here at the end to allow the Pfizer Business Innovation Team, Ashley Sushin. Did I say it right? Sushin?
Yeah, Sushin.
Okay. Job. Sorry about that. But Ashley's going to go into next steps. She's been instrumental with the Business Innovation Team, kind of helping us to kind of hand select you all, to invite you all to this event. So we wanted to make sure to have that chance for you all to engage. But now, hopefully, many of you are interested in landing an interview. So we want to fill you in on next steps and set some expectations around that. So Ashley, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you, Will. Yeah, so thank you, everybody, for your time. It was so nice to meet you. We're going to be reviewing resumes. We're going to be pre-screening. So if we select you, you will know, but we're going to reach out regardless. So just know we're going to follow up after this, and then you'll be contacted for a screen and then a formal panel if we progress there. So any questions?
Can you mention the time frame associated with this process?
Yeah, I'd say over the next week or two. That's what we're aiming for. We're trying to go pretty quickly. Lucille, if you have.
Yes, no, we will reach out to everyone, as Ashley said. I anticipate it won't be longer than a week as far as at least first reach out. Just give us a day or two just to look through your resumes now that we've had an opportunity to speak with all of you, just to figure out if there's a fit there, or even, we've talked to a few people that there might be a fit in another part of the organization. So very appreciative for everybody's time and learned a lot of experience and skill and representation for backgrounds and what everybody's done from the folks that we spoke to.
Likewise, and I think I already mentioned this, but feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and my wonderful team, Lucille, Phil, Carmen, Lauren, and Zim. And who my partner was throughout this whole hour.
Partner. Right.
So yeah, but we will be in touch regardless. And seriously, so nice to meet everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to speak with us and meet us, and make sure that you take the post-event survey. And I wish you all a wonderful rest of your Wednesday.
Hey, you know what? Let me slip in a quick photo op if we still got folks here. If you all want to leave your cameras on or turn your camera back on if you turn it off, we like to get a photo op of everybody's smiling face so we can remember this event. But let me say, before I close things out, thank you all for coming. Hey, thank you all for coming. Without you all coming, this obviously would not be possible. The other thing you have to remember too, by you all taking the time out to join us for this event, we're hoping that some folks get hired. But if you all don't come, then it could preclude opportunities for those that come behind you, right? So we really appreciate you all coming. This means a lot to us. So we want to remember this moment by taking a quick snapshot, and then we will follow up via email. My team, you guys are used to getting email from me, I'm sure already. We'll follow up with these next steps as well. So you'll have Ashley's point of contact information, her LinkedIn. You'll want to make sure we have your latest resume, because basically we're taking all of your latest resumes and sending them over to a final list to the Pfizer team. So make sure we have your latest resume on that apply link, which is basically our landing page for this event. And we'll share that with the Pfizer team. They will review the resumes. They'll invite some of you in for interviews. But then, of course, you can always take advantage of applying for opportunities on Pfizer's website. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this screenshot. Let me stop sharing my screen. And let me take myself off of highlight. All right, Luisa, we ready for the screenshot? Everybody say cheese.
Yes.
All right, 1, 2, 3, cheese. Wow, we got a lot of folks on here. Awesome, cheese. All right, best of luck to everyone. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate
you.
And take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.